now is 9:30. We are now switching to mono mode. In half an hour's time at 10 o'clock, we will be broadcasting the Hong Kong Examinations and Assessment Authority Diploma of Secondary Education English Language Paper 3 examination.
Let music take your mind, let the music take your soul.
FM 94.8至96.9，香港電台第二台。
Hkdse
有音樂，有快樂。
Radio
正所謂考試要準時，打氣都唔好遲啊！
考試又使乜驚啊？我哋一定撐你。
記住，有好多人支持你。如果你都想同 DSE 考生打打氣，
請留意香港電台第二台 Facebook 專頁嘅 DSE 打氣加油站留言區。
你嘅心意有機會喺4月23號朝早9點鐘 DSE 打氣加油站被讀出㗎。香港電台第二台 DSE 打氣加油站。你聽緊嘅香港電台第二台 FM 94.8至96.9啊！直播室咧，除咗有蔡敬文，仲有洪建威嘅。早晨，小威。
早晨啊，敬文。
係啦，如果大家聽緊我哋 DSE 打氣加油站，證明咧你已經校啱台啦。因為一陣間咧上午10點正咧，我哋就會播出 DSE 英國語文試卷3聆聽及綜合能力考核㗎。咁加油啊，所有考生啊！咁啊呢個時候我相信咧好多朋友仔咧都已經校啱個台㗎啦。
係啦，
除咗咧係等考試咧，仲想等緊我哋啲留言啊嚇！而家事不宜遲，馬上為佢讀出啦！嗱，我手上面咧，哇，好有誠意一個係紙本嘅留言啊！
即係佢寄過嚟啊，或者拎過嚟嘅。係
啦，叫佢哋喺呢個面書留言都唔放心嘅。嗱，既然佢咁有誠意，幫佢啦嚇！佢話英文添噃。To Caramel Alison Lam, Foundation Secondary School, 6C student 嗱，原諒我啲口音冇老師咁準啦。Hello, this is Miss Law. As promised, I wrote this message to RTHK to cheer you up. Boys and girls, smile, keep a deep breath, and stay calm. Recall your memory of all those skills you have learned, and that's great enough.After DSE 後邊仲有嚇 ，Let's go hiking, have Japanese buffet， Miss 請嘅應該 ，and singing out loud， 哇差啲睇唔到 ，I'm supporting you and praying for you， 拜你哋嘅 Miss Law 啊，真係好有心啊 ，Miss，
你頭先已經成功考咗 oral 嗰份卷㗎啦，
係咪啊？我希望大家聽得明我啲 accent 啦嚇，你嗰度有支上簽添喎。
冇錯啦，我呢個都係一個紙本嘅，有上簽啊，就祝各位學生都有上簽，臨場發揮到應有水準。Y Y 哥哥上。
跟住我手上都有一個嚟自 J Yan 嘅點唱，佢話記唔記得堂上嗰隻粉紅色啤啤熊啊？佢提緊大家陣間唔好犯錯啊，發揮到最好啊，全神貫注啊，唔好擔心咁多啊。與你哋常在嘅大隻年輕 J Yan 上，
跟住呢就有各位同學，我哋嘅目標最少一份卷奪星，記得贏呢輩子最值得自豪嘅一仗，會上晒我學生身嘅林老師上，
阿林老師個留言都好特別啊嚇！好，跟住嚟自咧，一個班會主席阿何同學，佢咧就點俾咁多位同學喺邊度嘅咧？係宣道中學嘅6C班同學，高中3年經歷咗一連串嘅嘢啊嚇，係真係反反覆覆啊！我哋咧冇咗啲陸運會啊，少咗好多實體一齊嘅日子，但係咧我都好感恩，好享受每一次嘅班會活動，同大家去主題公園去飲茶，跟住落嚟呢場仗呢，即使幾難打，我哋都要堅持落去，我哋要無悔終生。哇，好犀利呢個何同學同埋咧多謝咁多位啊，尤其是係 Miss 呢3年嘅教導，辛苦晒啦，加油！
好，各位同學，終於嚟到表演嘅一刻，我哋要背水一戰，唔好怯 ，Inspiring you always 嘅林老師上。
跟住咧嚟自 Joe Sit。呢個要小心讀啦嚇，因為咧佢話佢係考生嘅爺爺啊。
係
咁希望呢次咧係 last 一次留言。點解咧？一次就摘咗5星啦嘛，唔需要再搞其他嘢噶啦。
非常好。係
啦，佢就係送俾邊個啊？廠商會中學嘅邱國念啊，佢個孫仔。有權懷疑識啊，國成啊，佢係邱國成啊。佢話國念嗱，準備開考噶啦。 爺爺知你咧一定好緊張嘅，唔怕啊，最緊要輕鬆放鬆心情，係咪先？啊，我哋個個啊哥哥宇強啦、傑泰啦，同埋爺爺咧喺考試嘅試場門口默默為你打氣。記住啊，我哋全部人都係非常之愛你噶，所以淡定有錢剩啊嚇！阿國念，
好啦，跟住有文少少啊，想點唱俾周展強同學喺萬慈中學考試 DSE 嘅你呢，支持你啊，在心中啊！呢個市場考試真係有少少挑戰性，不過你就應該唔驚嘅，因為有個強字響個名度，咁強使乜驚啊？
即係強人士利嗰啲食字啊嘛。
咁佢係有個強字噶嘛。
係阿強加油啊嚇！好，跟住咧係嚟自阿 Mr. Yuen 嘅阿袁 Sir 咧就話啦，教你哋中1、2、3嘅如意，同埋中4、5、6 KE 嘅 Monkeys。與你哋同行2、3年啊嚇！今日終於咧去呢個 DSE 嘅戰場嗰度啦，去形容為戰場啊！好好發揮你哋所長啊！打一場漂亮嘅考試戰役啊！咁啊，袁 Sir 咧一定係會等住你哋啊嘅好消息嘅。
跟住有 Betty 啊 ，To Matt 考 DSE 加油加油，千祈唔好放棄，俾心機，考晒主科之後就可以打機。仲有呢個重要信息啊！仲有聽住錄奏子嘅時候啊，唔好瞓覺，記住有我呢個小妹妹支持你。
係啊，都唔好瞓啊！記住。好啦 ，Frankie 中嘅點唱啊！各位陳南昌紀念中學嘅中六同學，陳南昌紀念中學嘅中六同學，係啊，祖堯村山頂嗰間啊！一陣唔好太緊張，記住全力以赴，相信自己。我知你哋係做得到嘅，所有老師咧都喺度支持你哋，記住放鬆 ，fighting 加油！
好，跟住有鬱鬱心嘅點唱啊！喂，李兆基中學嘅家情黑毛豬，上年你哋就係喺呢度同我打氣，今年仲唔輪到我幫你打翻起？知道你哋而家咧可能好緊張，但係咧我心目中冇嘢你哋做唔到噶。今日你考英文啦，咁啊係好意思執啊！你聽到呢度咧，我哋一齊深呼吸，一陣 KO 個 B2 卷，抄低啲重要嘢，完全冇難度。考完一齊去揮霍消費券，愛你的鬱鬱上。
係，我一陣咧完咗，我都要研究下 B2 卷即係咩嚟，好多人都有睇喎。好啦，跟住係咪 Queen 輝 Chan 咧？Queen 輝 Chan 啊，佢話喂，係啊，叫緊你嘅細佬，佢細佬叫咩啊 ？Jack Chan 啊，同埋 Timothy 細佬同埋 Justin Chan 啊，哇，幾個細佬一齊考喎佢。喺呢一度咧，想同你哋加油打氣啊！今年咧真係一樣唔容易嘅一年啊！但係我深信你哋已經盡咗力準備㗎啦，一陣考試咧只要小心就 OK 啦，好似平時練習咁做就搞掂㗎啦。最後咧就祝福綠與白成租嘅師弟們啊，考試一切順利，無論咧坐喺 New Hall 定 Old Hall 都祝你哋咧好運啊！一個路過嘅 Old Boy 上，
跟住有 Call 天浪啊！南屯門官立中學嘅陳海琳同學 DSE 加油！你温咗咁多日嘅努力，一定唔會白費。考完之後咧，就同你慶祝入 U 噶啦。
冇錯啦。跟住咧係嚟自咧 Carol Chan Lee 啊，係點俾咧聖公會基校中學所有中六同學啦，特別係佢個班6D 班啦，因為今年 DSE 嘅考生個個都好犀利啊！希望大家咧冷靜去聽，唔好心急，慢慢做就 OK 噶啦。記得要 check 卷喎。Wish you all the best。
跟住有 NPC Miss Liu 啊，寧波公學全體中學同學，祝大家旗開得勝 ，listening 加油啊！
冇錯，跟住之後咧係嚟自劉佩欣嘅點唱，佢話希望主持可以讀出，而家幫你讀啊嚇！而家咧係考緊試嘅細佬啊，係啊，我嗌緊你啦，坐喺科度嗰個啊嚇！雖然咧呢幾年咧我都知道咧你温書温得好勤力好攰噶啦，但係咧嗱好快到終點啦，捱到 DSE 噶啦，等陣咧你專心聽，唔好聽漏嘢，盡力考好佢，加個靚油，細佬你得嘅。
好，跟住有蘇依希啊，就 to 九龍城粉紅學校嘅何瑩。係你啦，驚唔驚呢？今年到你考 DSE 啦，知道你呢幾個月都好緊張同埋好努力。咁上年我都經歷過，好明白你嘅心情啊，所以好想喺度同你講，你已經好叻㗎啦，加油啊！你實掂㗎，唔好俾太大壓力自己。陣間啲listening嘅時候唔好遊魂啊，絕對難唔到你嘅。等你考完之後呢，就瘋狂可以約你去玩啦。from 你嘅死黨2set 小姐。係
啊，玩真係要瘋狂啊嚇！好，跟住落嚟呢，就有汪孝清嘅點唱，佢話各位聖公會基校中學嘅中六同學仔，尤其係6AD 數學組嘅同學啊，係你哋啦！記住啊， 腳放鬆，睇清咗題目，豎起嘅耳仔專心聽，盡力去習就 OK 噶啦。努力咧為自己爭取最佳嘅成績，加油啊！英文加油之後咧，又要同我加數學嘅油喎。黃老師相信你哋全部都做得到㗎，加油啊！
跟住有 Kylie Jang 啊，以下係我要投稿嘅留言。如果被選中嘅話，就係我最大嘅榮幸。其實我哋榮幸係真嘅。麗澤中學鐵漢柔情嘅同學們，收到卷最後一秒咧，都唔好自暴自棄，你要指定行啊！結果如何啊，都不能説明你是一個怎樣的人啊！神會一直愛你們。
係啊，我哋都會同你並肩同行啊，所以啊，唔好放棄自己啊嚇。好，跟住之後咧係點俾沙田官立中學張家善 BB 嘅，你而家係咪坐咗喺市場度啦？知道咧喺疫情之下應試啊真係唔容易噶，咁但係既然都已經上咗場啦，陣間大顯身手就搞掂噶啦。記得如果聽到部收音機窒下有啲唔對路咧，唔好猶豫，即刻舉手去 special room 嚇。記得要做完卷咧就要 proofread 啊嚇。我等你考完咧一齊去 staycation 㗎，係嚟自咧 Avis 嘅點唱嘅喎。咁多位考生啊，記住加油！你聽緊嘅係 FM 咧94.8至96.9㗎。
生死正情愛恨，在這7天的假期，不說過，不說因，披一塊圍巾，只等我和我親近，自閉氣氛多陰森，叫一種高興在誕生。最慘是那一個人，身影在自愛抱緊真心，呼聲同腳氣要分身，笑得真，喊得真，自己找興奮，安靜放輕鬆收好自身。塵埃，伸手做掉再質問，俗世怎麼想透神？問問鏡中流光，生命憑數百個字爭，但最慘是那一個人，身影在自愛抱緊真心。喊得真，自己找興奮，安靜放輕鬆呼吸常溫，只聽到一呼一吸，只得我一呼一吸。埋藏在我手心，再打開世界光與陰，肯定繼續有天真與地，
You are listening to RTHK Radio 2. It is now 9:45. We are now broadcasting in mono mode. At 10 o'clock, you will hear the broadcast of the Diploma of Secondary Education English Language Paper 3 examination of the Hong Kong Examinations and Assessment Authority. Please stay tuned.
Let music take your mind, let the music take your soul.
FM 94.8至96.9，香港電台第二台。
RTHK
有音樂，有快樂。
Radio 2。
正所謂考試要準時，打氣都唔好遲啊！
考試又使乜驚啊？我哋一定撐你。
記住，有好多人支持你。如果你都想同 DSE 考生打打氣，
請留意香港電台第二台 Facebook 專頁嘅 DSE 打氣加油站留言區。
你嘅心意有機會喺4月23號朝早9點鐘 DSE 打氣加油站被讀出㗎。香港電台第二台 DSE 打氣加油站。係你聽緊嘅香港電台第二台啊 ，FM 94.8至96.9 DSE 打氣加油站啊！我係蔡敬文啊，小威早晨。
早晨啊，敬文。
一陣10點鐘咧，我哋就會播出 DSE 啊英國語文試卷3聆聽及綜合能力考核㗎啦。咁啊，各位咧已經校啱收音機咧，證明即係你已經聽到我哋把聲啦。如果聽到咧，你就唔好轉嚟轉去㗎啦。
因為仲有10零分鐘就考㗎啦。
冇錯，咁我哋事不宜遲，繼續為咁多位同學仔咧打下氣嘅。我手上咧有嚟自 Ruby Ho 嘅點唱啊，佢話各位棉紡會中學中六學生啊，師兄師姐們幫你哋打打氣啊，冇錯就係你哋啦。知道你哋咧一定係有好多嘢經歷緊噶啦，可能有少少緊張啦，不過唔使怕嘅，只要發揮小宇宙就 OK 噶啦。記得平常心應對每一份試卷同埋每一個題目，睇清楚啲重要字眼，帶住你哋努力堅持埋呢一刻啊，最後衝刺噶啦，加油努力支持你哋，拜你哋嘅師兄師姐上。
我手上呢封呢，就係一位 Miss 寫嚟嘅，佢咧就話今次係佢教學以嚟第一次寫嚟，亦都係最後一次啦。因為咧佢係最後一屆教班嘅 DSE 班啊，咁啊希望各位主持能夠讀到啦。咁咧就係各位林大輝嘅同學仔，今日到咗考英文科試卷最後一份 paper 啦，大家要堅持住，加油啊！尤其係我嘅6B 同埋6D 嘅同學仔，記住要鎮定啲，睇清楚題目。記住魔鬼在細節中，發揮你平日學到嘅嘢。記住 never say never， 加油成100。Rita 中啊 ，Miss 愛你哋。
跟住嚟自咧陳許麗點唱，佢話佢今年咧佢自己都係考生啊，佢係 Ken 哥啊自己叫，咁佢又點俾咧阿 Nick 啦、Oscar Choi 啦、Simon 同 Gordon 聽啊嚇，大家俾心機嚇，醒啲醒啲醒啲。今日咧係第2日，我哋一齊考好佢啊！攞個3話俾阿 Miss Long 知，話俾所有人知，我哋係得嘅。嗱，我就覺得咧唔止3啊，直頭摘星添啊嚇！讀咗10幾年書啊，大家都冇嘥到嘅，我哋一齊加油努力，唔好俾自己後悔。依家嘅你咧就唔好再睇碌屎啊！我相信而家入咗市場都冇碌屎睇㗎啦，set 好部機啦。而家聽到呢個留言就 set 好晒㗎啦，閉目養神，加油啊！
跟住有 Dina Lee 啊，我係老師，咁咧就係各位觀塘官立中學中6嘅同學仔，特別係6C 班嘅同學，等緊開考，等到瞓着未咧？千祈唔好瞓啦，就快開考㗎啦！打醒12分精神，一陣寫字寫快啲就得㗎啦！加油啊 ，Miss Lee 今日都要監考，咦佢真係聽緊㗎咯，即係同你哋一齊聽緊㗎。加油加油 fighting！Miss Lee 會喺精神上面支持你哋。
跟住係 Maggie Mo 嘅點唱 ，Hi 各位聖家書院嘅同學加油啊！特別咧佢想點俾佢嘅女女啊，小美人啊，唔止啊係大美人啊！我覺得葉嘉晴係咪好開心咧？嗱一陣咧，只要專心去聆聽，盡力做就 OK 噶啦。爹哋媽咪係永遠支持你㗎，嘉晴加油啊！各位聖家書院嘅同學，我哋一齊努力，所有 DSE 考生都要加油啊！
跟住有開風汪啊，致鄭裕彤中學嘅中6同學，今個禮拜開考 DSE 啦，咁啊唔知大家準備得好冇呢？咁樣明白大家喺呢個疫情之下考 DSE 係辛苦嘅。中5師弟提提你考 DSE 要平常心面對，諗清楚先好答，唔識嘅盡量答，千祈唔好留空，盡你能力所答。希望你哋加油啊，撐你哋啊！希望主持人抽得中啦。咦師弟題喎。
師弟題啊？
呢個係師弟題。
點樣為之師弟？
好似佢考過 DSE 咁樣，但係佢師弟嚟嘅。
同埋咧，其實咧呢啲係考過試嘅經驗嚟㗎，千祈唔好留空，答晒佢。好，跟住嚟自 Nora Chill 㗎，佢係點俾小火車聽㗎？向星星出發，美好前程等緊你㗎，博盡無悔，加油！媽媽想。
公里有係汪浩 fan 啊，公里高中書院嘅游傲天聽住考試加油，一考完我哋會喺門口接你，轎車都已經幫你準備好，唔好瞓，精神我啦、阿傑啦、阿 Ken 啦，仲有阿平都會幫你打氣啊！卷三對少爺你嚟講咧，絕對係輕鬆，但係唔好輕敵，加油！
我中意有轎車接啊嚇！好，跟住嚟自 Suki Ho 嘅點唱啊，佢話希望主持會讀出讀緊啊嚇，坐緊喺佢話馬騮戰隊門啊。我係可姐啊！哇，犀利啊！相信咧，你哋應該都知我係同緊你哋講嘢噶啦，唔好緊張啊，加油啊！仲有21日，我哋就可以去食平昌噶啦。相信係經常去嘅地方啊嚇！我唔識講咩心情嘅説話，唯有咧祝你哋順順利利，打醒12分精神啊！好好聽清楚，一陣間晏晝見你哋啦。
佛教國光法師中學6AB1數學嘅同學。呢3年嘅相處，我真係好開心。希望你哋喺數學考試考到一個應有嘅成績。每次改你哋嘅 past paper，我都好開心。即使係冷冰冰嘅數字，見到你哋團火一團力爭上游嘅火啊，真係要俾心機。我等於花姐，你等於12個 Mirror。我哋一定要喺 DSE 呢個舞台發光發亮，中常愛你哋。
好，跟住嚟自 Michelle 中嘅點唱，各位 DSE 同學仔，特別係加密聖道嘅中六同學，我係波姑娘同阿Mark Sir 嚇，波姑娘同 Mark Sir 啊，好開心陪大家走過大半年嘅中學生涯，知道大家高中3年呢都好多變數，經歷好多啊 DSE 咧就係你哋啊最後要打嘅大佬啊，一齊盡力打爆機，好似打機咁啊，平常心啊，相信自己咧一定會做得到嘅。阿波姑娘同埋阿 Mark Sir 支持你哋啊！
跟住咧就係德蘭中學嘅陳寶寶 Esther。Anki、Bobo 聽到呢一段嘢，證明你哋冇去錯台啦。卷3要俾心機考好啊！嗱，跟住落嚟，希望你哋可以合埋對眼，靜靜地咁樣聆聽我講嘅嘢。你哋今日將要將咁多年嘅學習生涯當中學到嘅嘢，全部運用翻晒出嚟。我相信你哋一直以嚟嘅努力一定會有收穫。畢竟你哋嘅努力，大家係有目共睹嘅，唔好辜負自己嘅努力。最終都可以達到自己目標，順利成為自己想做嘅人。希望呢一段嘢可以俾你哋聽到啦，一直陪住你哋嘅護士姐姐。
再提一次，大家聽緊嘅香港電台第2台 FM 94.8至96.9啊嘅 DSE 打氣加油站啊，一息間10點鐘咧就會咧播出 DSE 英國語文試卷3聆聽及綜合能力考核噶啦，校好台嘅朋友仔咧就唔好離開啦。好，跟住繼續我哋嘅加油留言啊，嚟自係鄭燕嘅留言啊，我係辛亥年嘅鄭老師啊，想同辛亥年嘅中六同學仔講聲加油。考試從來都唔係考你有幾聰明，而係考你哋能唔能夠堅持到最後啊！人生都一樣㗎，眯埋眼喺心入邊呢，唱下歌輕鬆下心情啦。即使係狂風暴雪一起對抗，任歲月再壞都不致心慌啊！鄭 Sir 支持你哋。
跟住有 Shelly Chan 嘅留言啊，各位 TTCA 嘅同學仔，我係 Miss Chan 啊，都知道3年嚟大家都好辛苦備戰，所以好想喺度同大家打打氣，想俾你哋知道呢，有好多人支持你哋㗎，你哋好叻㗎啦，一路行到呢一刻，咁啊努力捱多1個月就可以開心放假啦，陣間要集中精神聆聽啊，博盡無悔，加油！會繼續為大家祈禱。
嚟自 Jeffrey 嘅點唱啊，佢話咧要祝福啊，今年啊全部嘅應屆考生啊，佢話因為今次嘅文憑試咧都真係好多風浪啦，希望咧佢哋考試全部都可以順利取得佳績，達到自己嘅目標啊！橫跨幾個星期公開嘅考試之間呢，個個考生都一定要保重身體啊！
咁啊有新啲啊，德信中學6M 同6W 嘅同學要專心一致聆聽錄音，心無旁騖就完成題目，加油啊李 Sir！
冇錯啦，咁啊，示威我哋時間剩翻幾十秒，佢哋即將咧就要去面對佢哋嘅 DSE 英文 listening 啦。咁啊，我都知道啦，啲考生咧可能有好多嘅諗法，但係我覺得而家咧要平靜心情，
放低晒所有諗法嘅，真係要
專注去考試。正如所有嘅師長所講啦，盡力做好每一道題，咁已經係最 very good 㗎啦。咁我哋咧喺呢一度咧，祝各位嘅考生除咗要考試期間身體健康啦，面對每一份試卷都盡力去做啊！咁多位同學仔都一定要加油努力。
冇錯，加油努力係最重要嘅事情啊！咁啊，祝大家身體健康咯，咁樣就加油啦
This is RTHK Radio 2. The Diploma of Secondary Education English Language Paper 3 examination will begin in 5 minutes. For the time being, you will hear Wolfgang Williams' Fantasia on Green Sleeves, played by the Sinfonia of London, conducted by Sir John Bobby Raleigh. Candidates must not open the question-answer books or the data files until 10 o'clock, when they will be told to do so. I repeat, candidates are not allowed to open the question-answer books or the data files until they are told to do so.
Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education 2022. English Language, Paper 3. Listening and Integrated Skills. Instructions to Candidates. You should have on your desk a Part A question-answer book, a Part B1 data file with a Part B1 question-answer book inserted, and a Part B2 data file with a Part B2 question-answer book inserted. Do not open them until you are told to do so. I repeat, do not open the question-answer books or the data files until you are told to do so. Now, write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of your Part A question-answer book. Now look at the Part A question-answer book. Check that the Part A question-answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words, End of Part A. Now go on to Part B on the last page. Now, stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1, 3, and 5. Close your Part A question-answer book when you have finished. Now, look at your Part B1 data file. Take out the inserted Part B1 question-answer book. Check that your Part B1 data file has no missing pages. Look for the words, This is the last page of the Part B1 data file on the last page. Now, write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of your Part B1 question-answer book. Check that the Part B1 question-answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words, End of Part B1 on the last page. Now, stick your barcode label in the space provided on page 1. Close the Part B1 question-answer book when you have finished. Now, look at your Part B2 data file. Take out the inserted Part B2 question-answer book. Check that the Part B2 data file has no missing pages. Look for the words, This is the last page of the Part B2 data file on the last page. Now, write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of your Part B2 question-answer book. Now, Check that the Part B2 question answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words "End of Part B2" on the last page. Now, stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1 and 3. Close the Part B2 question answer book when you have finished. You are reminded that all examination materials will be played once only. This paper is divided into two parts, Part A and Part B. For Part A, you should use a pencil to answer all questions. For Part B, you can use a pen or a pencil. Put up your hand now if you have any difficulties. It is not possible to handle complaints after you have taken the paper. The listening component is about to begin. Keep your earphones on until you are told to take them off. Open your Part A question answer book at page 3. Part A is about to begin. Part A. Situation. Charlie Lau, Fatima Alami, Greta Y, and Keaton Ramos have just set up a tour company for tourists in Hong Kong called Hidden Hong Kong Tours. They also have their own YouTube channel. You will hear several conversations related to Hidden Hong Kong Tours. In Part A, you will have a total of 4 tasks to do. Follow the instructions in the question-answer book and in the recording to complete the tasks. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book and the recording. You now have 2 minutes to familiarize yourself with tasks 1 to 4. Task 1. Charlie and Fatima are meeting to finalize the details for a tour. Listen to their conversation and complete the information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Morning, Fatima.
Oh, hi.
How are the preparations going for that cultural tour to Henry's umbrella store?
Yeah, okay.
So do you think we can start the tours in December?
Oh, yeah, definitely. December weather's perfect for old town tours like this one.
Yeah, so how often do we want to run these tours then?
I reckon we can have them every Saturday.
Okay.
And each Saturday we can have 2 time slots. One at 9 a.m. and one at 4:30 p.m.
Perfect. 9 o'clock for the early birds and 4:30 for everybody else. Okay. And let's make sure we get the address right on the web page this time, not like the other one.
Yeah, okay. The store's at 16 Prince Edward West Road.
Right. Let me make a quick note of that. 16 Prince Edward West Road. And how can they get there from the MTR station?
Well, there's a car park near the MTR station, so it's the same route if they're walking from the MTR or if they're coming from the car park. From the MTR station, exit E, they walk past Bison Boys School before making a right turn.
I'm trying to remember the area. Don't they have to walk past Rare Bird Garden and Bright Flower Market before making the right?
That'll take them further away from the store. They need to take the first right, and the store's just across from Rich Avenue building. It's hard to miss.
Okay, and what kind of activities will the tour include?
Well, to start the tour, the store owner will give a talk.
But only listening to him talk might be a bit boring. Is there going to be anything else?
Oh, of course there is. They will join a handmade umbrella workshop. I bet most people have never tried that.
Handmade umbrella workshop. Wow.
And what we're going to do is, to get young people interested, we're going to have an Instagram photo session at the end of the tour.
That's a great idea. Good. An Instagram photo session will definitely attract a lot of people. Do you think we need to provide free bottled water for the participants?
I'm not sure. Bottled water creates a lot of plastic waste. I've talked with the store owner. He says he will be providing participants with traditional Chinese tea that his family used to have.
That will be perfect. I always have English breakfast tea at home in winter. I think we should avoid printing leaflets. They just get thrown away.
Yeah, everyone seems to be using QR codes with tours these days instead of leaflets. But I don't think that matches the style of the umbrella repair store.
No, you're right. So maybe we can give participants a souvenir.
Well, the store owner has actually offered to give participants umbrellas with the store logo as a souvenir.
Okay, good. So, have you thought about how we should promote the tour before December?
Yes. I was thinking we can promote it on social media. I mean, it's the most popular way of promoting events nowadays.
It's definitely popular. What else can we use?
Oh, actually, we'll be using posters as well.
Really? Any particular reason why you want to use posters? I mean, it's a lot of work.
Because we want to promote the tour in schools.
OK, that's a good idea. We could maybe get a bit of interest going in young people and teachers if we promote the tour in schools.
Let's hope so.
That is the end of Task 1. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 2. Keaton is interviewing T.Y. Chow for Hidden Hong Kong Tour's YouTube channel. T.Y. is the owner of a porcelain factory in Hong Kong. Listen to the interview and complete the information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Thanks for meeting me today, T.Y. So, why don't you tell me a bit about your factory to get us started?
Well, as you might already know, my factory's name is Guang China Works. We were the first, and are now the last, hand-painted porcelain factory in Hong Kong. Believe it or not, we have been open since 1928.
Was there anything about your porcelain which stood out from the rest?
Well, that's a good question. I think one thing was that we weren't following traditional styles of porcelain painting. We were known for using gold, pink, yellow, sky blue and turquoise, those sorts of colours. Not traditional at all. And our unique painting techniques were famous in the city as well.
What do you mean by unique painting techniques?
Yes, well, most factories at that time were using plain designs on porcelain for everyday use. Our approach made our porcelain more expensive, so it was not for everyone.
But if you were the pioneer in your field, and well known and appreciated, how did things change so drastically?
That's a long story. I remember my father telling me back in the day when my grandmother first started the business in the 1920s, she hired over 30 painters.
Over 30 painters? Business must have been booming then.
The demand was so high we expanded our business around Hong Kong during the 70s. We ended up opening 6 branches. But unfortunately, that didn't last long. After around 20 years in the 1990s, we had to downsize because of the economic downturn. People were facing many difficulties financially, and many businesses left.
That's sad. I suppose it must have left you feeling so helpless.
Well, not as helpless as we're feeling right now. Seeing the current situation, we're facing possible shutdown.
Yes, I'd heard that, and I was wondering if you could explain why. How come the porcelain factories continued to struggle and to lose money?
Well, there are a number of reasons. The first one is that the factories moved to mainland China.
Was that because the economy or talent was better in mainland China compared to Hong Kong?
No, it was because of the lower wages and rent. Because the wages and rent were lower, business was more profitable, and that meant it became more and more attractive to move your factory to mainland China.
You said there were other reasons as well, right?
The next reason is that there are no young workers in Hong Kong. That's why many factories can't recover.
Why are there no more young workers then?
That's a good question. I think the skills are difficult to learn.
Okay, so how have you continued to survive despite the downturn?
Well, fortunately, we still had two groups of customers who kept us in business in the 1990s. One of them was five-star hotels. Five-star hotels were still ordering from us because they often displayed porcelain in hotel lobbies, for decoration.
That makes sense. But did that mean that there were no individual customers making purchases then?
Well, there were quite a few, actually. There were many who loved our products and wanted a piece of history and their culture in their homes. But most of these people were overseas, so we had a lot of overseas customers.
Okay. So what are the most popular patterns among customers nowadays, since you have quite a variety of them?
Well, you often see patterns with flowers on porcelain in local markets, though they aren't as popular as you might think. It's images of Chinese mythology that are really popular with customers. I think they like having these magical creatures on their pieces because they are such a big part of the Chinese culture, I suppose.
So, do customers request to have people painted on their porcelain as well? Like emperors from the past or other important historical figures, that sort of thing. Or maybe images of landscapes.
Actually, they tend to prefer something a bit more personal. A lot of customers overseas, especially from the UK, will ask for their family emblems to be included in the designs so they can pass it down to their children.
Okay, well, thank you. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for this interview, TY.
That is the end of Task 2. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 3. Charlie and Greta are making a YouTube video at an exhibition at Bolin Medicine's factory in Hong Kong. Listen to their conversation and complete the information in the spaces below. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Greta, I can't believe we're finally here at the Bolin Medicine Factory exhibition. Bolin Medicine's only the most popular medicine for children in Hong Kong. I've had their medicine tin box at home since I was a kid.
Okay, so it's for children. What kind of medicine is it? Is it like those sweets for a sore throat?
No, I know which ones you're talking about, but not them. My mum would give it to me every time I had a high temperature. It really worked. It would help me sleep better as well when I was struggling to get to sleep.
Now that you come to mention it, I seem to vaguely remember my mom giving it to me too. But it gave me a stomach ache, so I wasn't a big fan of it.
So now you know why I'm so excited. I can't wait to learn more about their manufacturing process. I was reading that they won the Shona Finances Award last year.
What's that? Because they are successful with their finances and make a huge profit?
Well, they do make a huge profit, that's true, but Shona Finances are just the sponsors of the award. It's meant to look beyond just profits. It's one of those international awards, like one of those environmental excellence awards.
So it's for being environmentally friendly or using natural products or something?
No, it's an award for companies that help their society. So Bolin have this campaign to employ all types of people in Hong Kong society to help them. People over 65, people with disabilities, single parents, newly arrived immigrants, that sort of thing. So that's why they won the Shona.
Well, good for them. And apparently their manufacturing processes are of the highest standard.
Let's start right away then. Look, this exhibit here is about the first step in the process, sourcing of ingredients.
Okay, so it says here that they use quality local suppliers for their ingredients. No wonder they're so successful. Nothing beats quality local suppliers if you ask me.
True.
And apparently, they say that because of that, they can ensure their raw ingredients does not come in contact with banned substances during the step. I wonder what banned substances mean.
Banned substances? I don't know. I doubt it would be turmeric or ginseng or anything like that. Lots of these companies have been busy promoting them as miracle cures for everything. I read somewhere that some companies use pearls.
Well, that does sound quite a controversial ingredient.
I'm guessing that's what they banned.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Or maybe one of those problematic ingredients like shark fin. But no, it says here that it's the good old peanut which is banned. There are too many children who have peanut allergy these days, and they want their medicine to be more accessible. Anyways, let's move on to the next exhibit. It's about the preparation stage. Okay, so it says here that this is where they grind and measure ingredients to prepare them for further processing. That's why it says that there are a number of conditions they keep an eye on. The first condition they need to maintain is room temperature. Apparently, that is to avoid any damage, like they wouldn't want to burn or freeze the ingredients.
That makes sense. I'm assuming the ingredients are quite delicate. Okay, let's see. It says here that the next condition they need to ensure is low humidity. It's important to control humidity to prevent mold.
Don't tell me about that. I hate even thinking about mold. It's gross.
Oops, sorry about that. And it says that the third condition they need to maintain is high air pressure. They do this to kill bacteria.
You keep reading that, Charlie. All this talk of mold and bacteria is making me feel uncomfortable.
I think I will go ahead to the next exhibit and read about the processing stage.
Let's go together. So, what process is involved in making bowling medicine?
Believe it or not, it says here that it's cold brew.
Cold brew for medicine? That's something I've never heard of.
Apparently, it helps maintain the freshness and flavour.
I'm sure it does. Hey, look at this. We're at the last step already. It's packaging. Every Hong Kong parent's favourite part of bowling medicine.
That was quick. Shows how efficient the factory is at producing medicine.
And they're well aware of it. They stopped using tin boxes for packaging a few years back. Now they make sure it's environmentally friendly. Helps to showcase them as a caring company.
Look at the packaging design too. It's obviously trying to evoke feelings of family and, comfort and warmth. That's why you feel so nostalgic. It's all deliberate.
No wonder they're so successful. So anyway, thanks for joining us at the Bowling Medicine Factory.
That is the end of Task 3. You now have 1 minute to complete your answers. Task 4. Fatima is telling Charlie about an interview she had with Albert Wan, a retired toy factory worker in Hong Kong. Listen to their conversation and complete the answers below. Please note that you do not need to answer in complete sentences. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 3 minutes to tidy up your answers.
So, how was your interview with Albert Wan then?
It was great, to be honest. He was telling me that he worked in the same toy factory, Macro Toys, in Kwun Tong, for almost 30 years. He was born in a tiny village in China, and because his family didn't have much, he decided to go to Shanghai, like a lot of people did, in search of a better life.
Yeah, it's a very common story in China at that time.
And it was there he got 3 months of training to learn to make toys in a factory.
And presumably he then came to Hong Kong because of the war or something.
No, it was after that. He said that he came with all of his friends from the factory in Shanghai. The representatives of Macro Toys came from Hong Kong to Shanghai, and they recruited about 100 of them in Shanghai, paid for their ship fare, and took them to Hong Kong.
Wow, can you imagine? All of your friends together off to Hong Kong. Must have been a big adventure.
Yeah.
And did Albert give a sense of how he felt towards his employers, the factory owners, Macro Toys, and how he was treated?
Well, he talked about his salary and the additional benefits workers received. He did say that initially, at least, they were paid a really small amount, but he explained that the additional benefits really helped them save a lot of the money they did make. So the additional benefits were really important.
So what do you mean by additional benefits? Do you mean like fringe benefits? Like health insurance and bonuses, that sort of thing?
Well, sort of. The first additional benefit he mentioned was that the factory provided dormitories for them to stay in. This is more or less unheard of in Hong Kong nowadays, but factory dormitories were common back then. And interestingly enough, he spoke about the importance of the canteen. So all the workers got free food. So that was an additional benefit and really important.
And you said that this changed?
Yes, well, for Albert at least. He was promoted to being a manager eventually, and so he ended up with quite a comfortable salary.
And did the benefits change?
Well, he said that as the workforce became more established in Hong Kong, people started having families, so the factory actually built flats for the families to live in for free.
That's interesting. You do still see old blocks of flats built by factories in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Albert also talked quite a lot about what it was like to actually work in the factory, the good and the bad things.
I see. I mean, we hear of some horror stories about factory working conditions in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and this was pretty interesting. He spoke about working for 12 hours in a row, standing up. So that was pretty tough.
Indeed, that does sound tough, especially standing.
But he did say that they had great conversations with the people as they worked for 12 hours together. There was a great atmosphere among them. He loved the banter, the conversations, the jokes between them. He did emphasise that.
And what else?
He spoke about the great pride in the toys they were making and how he was proud to be making toys that made children happy.
Interesting. You forget that factory workers have that sense of pride in what they're doing.
So yeah, that was interesting to hear. Oh, and I almost forgot. He said in the summer the heat was unbearable because there were no windows and no aircon in the factory, of course. So it was incredibly hot where they were working.
Sounds awful. And did you ask him about accidents in the factory? There must have been loads.
Yes, Albert said that he didn't remember any. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either Albert is telling the truth and there were no accidents at the factory and Macro Toys had the best safety record in Hong Kong.
Yeah, right. Or the world.
Or his memory is failing and he can't remember because it's so long ago. He is in his 80s. But I don't think that's it because his memory was perfectly fine with everything else. Maybe he wants to be loyal to the factory and the owners and just not tell us.
Exactly. I think you're right. He didn't want to tell you because he was being loyal to the factory and the owners.
Yeah, and speaking of which, he spoke about when the factory closed down and how he felt about it.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was a manager by the time that the factory closed down. Quite successful, you might say. So when the factory closed, everybody in the factory, all the workers, lost their job, but he was kept on, but not as a manager, but as a security guard, guarding the empty factory building.
And that's quite a picture. Going from being a manager with all the noise and activity and his friends and colleagues to being alone, guarding an old empty factory.
Yeah, I know. But he still stays in touch with the other factory workers he worked with.
Does he? That's good.
Yeah, a really interesting old guy, Albert.
That is the end of Task 4 and of Part 3A. You now have 3 minutes to complete your answers to Task 4 and to tidy up all your other answers. Part B. Look at page 2 of your data file. Situation. You are Nico Lin. You work for Shiny Diamond Lighting Limited, a company that designs, makes, and sells neon lighting products and services. Your work involves writing and editing texts for company use. Your boss, Floyd Mann, has asked you to do some tasks. You will listen to a podcast of Wish You Were Here, an arts and culture radio program on Hong Kong radio. On the podcast, you will hear Julia Din interview Pris Fong, owner of Shiny Diamond Lighting Limited, and her chief designer and neon artist, Rick Lai. Before the recording is played, you will have 5 minutes to study the question-answer book and the data file to familiarize yourself with the situation and the tasks. Complete the tasks by following the instructions in the question-answer book and on the recording. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book, the data file, and on the recording. As you listen, you can make notes on page 3 of the data file. You now have 5 minutes to familiarize yourself with the question-answer book and the data file. The recording is about to begin. Turn to page 3 of the data file.
Hello, listeners, wherever you are. And once again, I wish you were here with my two spectacular guests, Pris Fong, owner of Shiny Diamond Lighting, and the company's chief designer and neon artist, Rick Lai.
My pleasure, Julia, to be here.
Hello, everyone.
Now, Pris, your company has not only been a sparkling success, but you have won many prestigious awards. Which award means the most to you, though?
Well, it has to be the one we were awarded last year, the 2021 Neon Award.
That's neon, right? N-E-O-N, as in the gas we use for lights.
Correct. It's an award given to companies who make neon lights. Winning the 2021 Neon Award is something we are very, very proud of.
Now let's have a look at some of the products you have brought in. Rick, I love these designs, especially the UFO. It's so green.
We also make the UFO in yellow too.
Fabulous! Green and yellow are actually my favourite colours.
And we have them in different sizes. We have 95 centimetres by 65 centimetres for the large size and 34 centimetres by 20 centimetres for the small. Actually, let me just check that size for the small again. Yeah, 34 centimetres by 20 centimetres for the small size.
The small UFO is so cute. How much would it cost for this one?
This small UFO is only $600.
Only $600. That's a bargain. And this one here, oh, listeners, I wish you were here so you could see this. It's the Hong Kong skyline that could be used to cover a wall. The colours are amazing.
Yes, this one is very special. But it's not available yet. You will need to wait until the 7th of June.
Well, that's going in the calendar. The 7th of June, buy my Hong Kong neon skyline.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Now, besides the products that you design, which we've just looked at, you also make designs given to you by customers?
Yes, that's right. Through our webpage, customers can send us their designs, and our neon artists, like Rick here, will make those into a neon sign.
What a wonderful service! And I noticed you do birthday cake signs. What's special about those?
Well, the customer can tell us the name and the age of the birthday boy or girl, and we will put their name and age onto the birthday cake sign.
Isn't that great, listeners? Would you like to receive a neon sign of a birthday cake with your name and age on it? I know I would.
Yes, this product is very popular.
Now, Pris, let's talk about the company's history and its beginnings. I heard that you and Rick have known each other quite a while now.
My goodness, yes. We've known each other for many years. In 1980, when I decided I wanted to start my own company, I realised I needed training from the best. And the best back in 1980, and still today, is Rick.
So you began your company before you met Rick?
No. I was thinking about starting a company in 1980, but I didn't actually found the company until the next year, in 1981. You see, I needed to get trained first. Rick Lai, back in 1980, was the #1 neon master in Asia. I was extremely lucky that he took me on. In 1981, once I had finished my training with Rick, I founded Shiny Diamond Lighting.
Pris had incredible artistic talent.
What can I say? I had the best master. You know, Rick trained me for 6 months. He was a wonderful teacher, but it was 6 long months of learning and very hard work.
I imagine a few of our listeners might be interested in becoming neon artists, especially young people who are going to college soon. What would you say to any listener who would like to work in the lighting industry?
please contact us. Actually, we really want to hire people at the moment. We are looking for trainees, particularly young people, to become neon light makers. It's a very interesting job, and we are offering excellent benefits. We will train each trainee for 6 months, and during that 6 months, you will be paid.
That sounds like a wonderful opportunity. You know what? If I weren't working here, then I would love to sign up as one of your trainees. 6 months of paid training? That's amazing. So when would trainees start their training?
We will start the training program in September this year.
What about the future? What can we expect in our light displays? Is it like all those spectacular science fiction films where we will have huge 3D projections walking around?
Not yet, unfortunately. The technology to produce the kind of 3D projections we see in science fiction films does not exist currently.
Yes, science fiction films are fiction after all. However, we can still create a kind of 3D projection using certain tricks. Actually, in our current products brochure, we highlight a couple of futuristic 3D projection products that we sell.
And what about neon lights, Pris? Do they have a future?
Of course. People will always love neon. And you know why? Because neon is made in the heart of stars. That's a fact. Neon gas comes from the inside of stars. When I tell my customers that fact, it really blows their mind. They are amazed that the light they see in their sign came from inside a star.
Customers also love the art and craft of neon. Many customers have told me this is why they prefer neon signs to newer technologies like LEDs.
Oh yes, Rick's absolutely right. Customers do love the art and craft of neon.
Well, thank you both very much for what I'm sure our listeners will agree has been a very illuminating discussion. Tune in next week to the Wish You Were Here podcast, where my guests will be the pop band Bubblegum. Goodbye for now.
That is the end of the listening component of this paper. You will now have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete the written tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. An announcement will be made when time is up. Take off your earphones now and turn off the radio.
Let music take your mind, let the music take your soul.
FM 94.8至96.9，香港電台第2台。
Hkdse
有音樂，有快樂。
Radio
時間嚟到接近上午11點，你聽緊呢係香港電台第2台，剛剛完成嘅係 DSE 英國語文試卷3聆聽及綜合能力考核啊。稍後11點會播出陳圖安主持嘅安歌同學會。
2023鄉郊一般選舉會喺明年初舉行。無論係想新登記為選民，定係已登記嘅選民想更改資料，都要喺今年6月16日或之前提交申請。申請登記為居民代表同街坊代表。